So, overall, your life is going pretty well. There don't seem to be any obvious problems or troubles, and you're not depressed or burnt out, but you still feel kind of meh, a little joyless and aimless. Why is that happening? And how can you fix it? That's what we'll discuss in this video. Hit that like button if you're subscribed. Does this situation sound familiar to you? Binge-watching TV shows, constantly scrolling through bad news, or playing endless online games, yet you just don't feel happy. But you're not depressed either. You have hope for the future, and you have the energy, so you haven't burned out. It's just that lately, life has felt rather gloomy and pointless, with a sense of emptiness, stagnation, and melancholy. You're not alone in feeling this way. In fact, there's even a name for it: languishing. That term was coined by sociologist Corey Keyes, and psychologist Adam Grant recently wrote an interesting New York Times article on the topic that really resonated in Western society. So Grant was probably right to call languishing the dominant state of our times. You know, the fact that we're able to name this emotion is actually the first step towards overcoming it. By identifying and acknowledging the feeling you're experiencing as normal, you gain a sense of control over it, and it becomes easier to work through. So that's a good start. The danger with languishing is that it's hard to notice. If you're deeply depressed, at least it's obvious to those around you. You can't get out of bed or you're constantly crying. But languishing creeps in quietly. Motivation gradually declines and there's less and less joy in your life. And even when you finally do realize what's going on, it's tough to open up about these feelings to others. We rarely have the honesty to simply answer, "How are you?" truthfully. Usually we automatically say good, even if that's not the case. This modern culture seems to pressure us to always be positive. What a nasty little phrase that is. Worse yet, even if we do share our feelings and say things have been a bit blah lately, we're unlikely to get useful advice. More often it's just empty platitudes or even harmful nonsense like, "Well, people in Africa are starving." A couple years ago, when the whole world changed due to, well, you know what? A study was done that found the best predictor of well-being wasn't optimism, but rather flow. I'm sure you're familiar with that term. Lots of people have even read the book by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi of the same name. Flow is a state of mind where a person is completely immersed or engaged in an activity, and everyone has their own unique flow experiences. It could be cooking, playing volleyball, or tending to a garden. In flow, we lose track of time and sometimes even forget our sense of self. You can even experience flow while watching TV. But in that case, it's just a temporary escape from languishing, not a cure. Why? Because when we're zoned out in front of the screen, we're passively inhabiting a fictional world, whereas true flow requires active engagement with the real world. The answer to the question in the video title, "Why do you feel blah even when things are going well?" is that we simply don't spend enough time in a state of flow. So how do you fix that? Well, Adam Grant has developed a theory on optimally achieving a flow state, and it comes down to 3 key elements: mastery, mindfulness, and meaning. Let's dive into each of those. First, mastery. It's important for us to feel a sense of progress. Psychologists say that the feeling of advancement is the crucial factor for job satisfaction. When we're languishing, we're stagnating, but when we're in flow, we're moving forward. Mastery doesn't mean becoming a world-class expert. It just means gradually achieving small victories. Say, for example, you find flow when cooking. To achieve that, you need mastery, which means steadily improving your cooking skills, trying out new, slightly more complex dishes. The second element for optimal flow is mindfulness. According to Adam Grant, the average person checks their email 74 times a day and switches between tasks every 10 minutes. You're certainly not going to reach a flow state like that. To cultivate mindfulness, you need to introduce some limits, like putting your phone away for a while or turning on airplane mode. And the third condition is meaning. Mastery and mindfulness will help you achieve flow, but meaning is what takes it to a peak experience. We need to feel that our activity has purpose. Going back to the cooking example, if you're making meals for your loved ones, that automatically imbues your hobby with meaning. You're bringing happiness to your family by nourishing them with delicious food. All 3 of these elements came together for Adam Grant in a game of Mario Kart on Nintendo. First, the game gave him a sense of mastery. that indescribable satisfaction of perfectly placing a banana peel that his sister then slipped on. Secondly, he had to be highly mindful, fully focused to beat the other players. And thirdly, Adam felt a deep sense of meaning because he was bringing his family together through this game. He was bringing joy to his kids during lockdown and connecting with distant relatives. They were all laughing and bonding over it. So flow doesn't have to come from something super productive. It can be something light and fun, too. To shake off that languishing, joyless feeling, you just need to find your own flow activity, something that combines mastery, mindfulness, and meaning. I've mentioned in a previous video that I want to get into soccer, and for me, that's a flow state. Find your thing, and that languishing will recede, if not for good, then at least you'll know how to fight it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and join us. The key is finding an activity that fulfills those three criteria: mastery, mindfulness, and meaning. It doesn't have to be some grand, productive pursuit. In fact, it can be something relatively simple and recreational. Think about what hobbies or pastimes really capture your focus and attention. What makes you lose track of time and feel totally immersed? For me, as I mentioned, it's playing soccer. The feeling of improving my skills, the need to stay acutely aware on the pitch, and the sense of contributing to a team effort, it all combines into an optimal flow state. But your flow activity could be anything: gardening, painting, playing a musical instrument, even something like building model airplanes. The specifics don't matter as much as ensuring those three elements are present. With mastery, mindfulness, and meaning, you'll be able to regularly enter a state of flow and leave that languishing feeling behind. Of course, it won't happen overnight. Reshaping your habits and finding a fulfilling flow activity takes time and commitment. But now that you understand the key ingredients, you have a roadmap to follow. Start small, focus on gradual progress in whatever hobby sparks your interest, and be intentional about minimizing distractions so you can stay present in the moment. Over time, that joyless, aimless sense will start to dissipate. It's also important to be patient and self-compassionate along the way. Languishing doesn't just disappear with the flip of a switch. There will still be ups and downs, good days and bad, but armed with this knowledge, you'll be able to recognize when you're slipping back into that state, and you'll have strategies to pull yourself back into a flow mindset. So don't get discouraged. Finding your flow may take some experimentation, but it's so worth the effort. Embrace the journey of mastery, cultivate mindfulness, and connect your activities to a deeper sense of meaning. I have no doubt that, bit by bit, you'll be able to overcome that languishing and rediscover the richness and joy in your life. Now go forth, subscribe to the channel, and start exploring your flow.